vou conversar com esse autor que já escreveu vários livros sobre mistérios que a humanidade não consegue entender. É o escritor Erich von Däniken. Please.
Kein Portugiesisch.
Nein, kein Portugiesisch,
Nein.
aber Englisch? Ja.
Englisch, Deutsch, was Sie wollen.
Französisch?
Ja,
Schweizerdeutsch?
natürlich, selbstverständlich.
You are Swiss, aren't you?
Naturally, I'm Swiss, of course.
Where from?
Well, I live in the Bernese Oberland, near Thun. You know Thun? It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful
high mountains, 4,000 meters high, covered with snow, and below the lakes. It's just great.
Beautiful,
I love
beautiful.
it. I love it.
I study in Lausanne, in
Oh.
the Canton de Vaud.
Oui, Canton de Vaud.
Exactly, in front of the Lac Léman.
Lac Léman, oui, oui. Evian à l'autre côté.
Très beau aussi.
Oui, ça je crois bien.
Ah, et bien, oui, et
Oui.
bien. Just on the other side. So, eram os deuses astronautas, ok? Está saindo de novo pela Melhoramentos. This is your first big hit, right?
That was long, long time ago. and-
60s.
Yes, it was in '68 when it came out on the German market.
68.
68, yes.
And in Brazil, it came out soon after.
Soon after, yes.
Yeah, I remember that. And this is Viagem a
Kiribati.
Kiribati. This one, when was it?
Well, that was around somewhere in the 70s, by the end of the 70s or the beginning of the 80s. But in the meantime, at least in many other languages, I have published 22 books so far. And we know a lot of new material since this.
Yes, yeah,
Ramos
thanks.
Deosus Astronautas.
How do you say it in Portuguese? Say it again.
Well, Ramos Deosus Astronautas.
Perfect, perfect. And so you have a lot of new material.
Yeah.
There is, of course, in all your books, the subject is always life in another planet, and especially visits from out of space.
Here on Earth some thousands of years ago.
And not today, not anymore.
Well, I don't know about this. I mean, we have many people who believe in UFOs.
Yeah, that's what I just asked before you came in.
But for myself, I never saw a UFO.
No, me neither.
You neither?
No,
Maybe
never.
they run away when we show up.
I don't know. I think what I say. I usually say that they love to come here just to scare people, and they go back and laugh because.
Well, maybe I hope they won't shock us. Maybe that's the reason.
So you have new. Could you explain about the new photos that you have
Well,
here?
everyone remembers Nazca, I think. Nazca is in Peru. It's a gigantic desert. And when you fly over Nazca, you get the impression that below you see something like airstrips. Now, that's an old story, but in the past years I was in Nazca again. I flew over Nazca, and we found new airstrip-looking lines, but this time in the mountain. It's very,
On the
very
top?
strange. On the top of the mountain.
And,
Or
this is made of what? This is some kind.
nobody knows. It's like broken stones, little broken stones. So it was with gips. Or just in the mountain, about 15 kilometers away from Nazca, we found this. Now, what is it? It is part of a bigger sign you see here and here. And this again is part of the next bigger sign. Now, all this is a distance of about 800 meters. Now, it's there since thousands of years. Nobody walks up there, nobody knows what it is, and nobody writes about it. It's very strange. And finally, just to continue this, on the next valley, could somebody tell me, for my goodness, what is this? Somewhere in the Peruvian mountains, near Nazca, absolutely unknown. So these are new discoveries we made the past years. That's why we want to bring the whole discussions about Nazca again on the top. It's very strange.
This is amazing. And this, what is this here?
Well, that's another thing. Oh, my goodness. You know, if you ask an Egyptologist, specialist in archaeology, about the Great Pyramid, he will tell you there are no mysteries. Everything is solved. We know in the Great Pyramid we have only 3 chambers. This is the King's Chamber, then the
This one is the King's Chamber?
No, the King's Chamber, the Queen's Chamber, and below an unknown chamber. And there is no mysteries, that's what they say. But From the king's chamber, there is a small shaft, just 20 centimeter in diameter, going out. Now, science tells us that this is just a symbolic shaft. It's nothing. After 6 meters, it ends in the pyramid stone. 4 years ago, a small robot entered this symbolic shaft. He climbed up in a degree of 41 degree, in an angle of 41 degree, climbed up for 62 meters inside the pyramid, and the robot ended before this door. You see, the robot had a laser beamer, and the laser went under the door, and this is metal. Until today, we have always been told...
It's only stone.
Yeah, it's only stone. There was never metal used while constructing the Great Pyramid. What we have now, 65 meters inside, a door. So, if there is a door, and yes, as I can prove it, there is a door, there must be something behind the door.
And the door is still closed.
The door is still closed. That's a shame for science.
And they can't go in and open this door because it's too small.
No, it would be easy to make it. I mean, we have enough, a lot of technical possibilities to open the door, and also it's not a financial problem. But they just don't want to open the door, or maybe God knows they do it already in secret, and they don't tell it to public.
Tell me this. Why everybody that deals with UFOs or deals with these mysteries,
Yeah.
let's call it mysteries because
Okay.
indeed they are. Why do usually they say the government knows about it but don't want to say anything about it?
Yeah.
They want to keep it secret. Why would they want to keep it secret if it's such an interesting thing? And
I know many...
what do they gain by that?
Look, normally, scientists are very integer and humorous and wonderful and nice persons. But among the scientific community, you have always small groups who want to keep their knowledge in secret. And this is a proven fact. Take the example of the Dead Sea Scrolls. For 20 years, a small group of scientists have been translating the Dead Sea Scrolls, but it didn't went to the public. Only now, in the past years, we learn what was really inside the Dead Sea Scrolls. The same thing happened with a few examples in archaeology.
No, but in this case, isn't all this archaeology stuff, doesn't it belong to the Egyptian government?
No, well, I would think that this is a heritage of mankind. This belongs to everybody in mankind.
I know, but I mean, they have
access to it.
Access and power over it.
Yes, definitely they have. But now concerning the UFO thing, there are scientists who feel responsible against the public, so that they feel if we say the truth about UFOs, the public will get in panic. I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
The public will get in panic, or the religions will be shocked.
That's
or
not true.
I think it's not true. It's all ridiculous.
That's a ridiculous excuse.
Absolutely. But still, they behave themselves in a way as if they would be responsible. So we have a certain censorship. I don't like it at all, but it's a fact.
But also, I don't understand why if there are UFOs actually now around the
globe?
the planet, the globe, the planet Earth, why don't they show themselves to the scientists or to the governments? This is something I can't understand.
I had just a few months ago...
it's like if Columbus would get to America and hide himself from the Indians.
Would make no sense. But Columbus was human and we are human. Now, in a discussion just a few months ago, we had a similar theme coming up, and the journalist was asking the same question. And then we had an old professor among us in astronomy. It was Alan Hynek. He's dead in the meantime. Now, and Alan Hynek, the journalist said, why are they hiding, as you asked? If we would be observed, if somebody really would be along up there, they would make diplomatic contact with us. And Professor Hynek said, now come on, we don't make diplomatic contacts with chicken. Wir nehmen auch keine diplomatischen Beziehungen mit Hühnern auf.
But I mean, wouldn't you be very happy if you saw something in the sky? I mean, the real thing, something solid, like in Close Encounters, and you see that big ship. Wouldn't that give you a sense of happiness?
Of course, to me it would. but for millions of people it wouldn't. You know, generally talking, you have two types of people, of person. The one type is educated more religiously, and they believe that God created everything, and on the sixth day, as the crown of creation, God made us, the human being. So we are the crown of creation. The other type of human being is more scientifically educated. They believe in the whole theory of evolution.
But even you can be religious and you can believe in the theory of evolution, like even Teilhard Chardin, who
Sure, certainly, yes.
was
But
a Jesuit, but
perfect. To the scientists, to the evolutionists, they think in a long, long spiral of mutation and selection, we are the top of evolution. Now, in both cases, you have the crown of creation for the religious people, or we are the top of evolution for the scientific people. In both
and maybe
cases,
we're not.
yeah,
Yeah,
but in both cases, we believe we are unique. Something like us does not exist
But that
anymore.
would make a very small God.
Yeah, sure.
To make
we are
the whole
looking down.
universe just for us.
We are looking down to our navel and we think we are unique, and that's why so many people, from the religious standpoint of view or from the scientific point of view, they are afraid of extraterrestrials. Because the extraterrestrials, they will cut their uniqueness. They don't want extraterrestrial. Go away with these. We are unique in the universe. That's what they think. And that's a psychological problem.
Tell me something, Eric. I don't remember who wrote this book. I read a book that showed pictures in some drawings, some very modern drawings of human caricatures of human figures in very old Stone Age caverns. And the photo says this is kept in the Musée de l'Homme.
Yes,
in Paris. Have you ever seen something like that?
I read about this. That's in the newspapers also, but that's a fake.
That's a fake.
That's a fake.
And the Piri Reis map, is it a fake?
No, that's not the fake. The Piri Reis map is absolutely true. The Piri Reis map is a map which was.
How do you know? How can we know the difference if it's one thing is a fake and the other?
First of all, we know who Piri Reis was. He was an admiral in the Turkish army. Then we know the time when Piri Reis was living.
No, but I mean. Well, couldn't be a map that was made afterwards and then said to be...
No, because Piri Reis himself also was a writer, and he wrote down about his map.
I see.
He said, I made this map for that and that person because I have...
Which is aerial.
Well, at least the Antarctic part.
Yes.
The Antarctica definitely, which is below ice and snow for 10, 12,000 of years, is on the Piri Reis map. The coastlines, the little islands and everything. And that's very amazing.
Yeah,
it's really strange. We cannot understand how this came on an old map. And we have other maps like Piri Reis maps, and we have no explanation for it.
And another thing, Eric, not taking into consideration this, the new mystery that was found in the pyramids, it's not such an amazing construction because it's made out of stone. The stone is from the right period, and it was a beautiful conceived work of construction. But it's not a maze for a people like the Egyptians at that time to make the construction by themselves. Do you think it had to have extraterrestrial help?
Yes and no. Well, what we don't know in the Western world is the Arabic literature and the Arabic historians. And in the 12th century, in the 8th century, some Arabic historians, they have written down books about the Great Pyramid. And what they tell us is completely different than what we know today. For example, in the book Hittat, written by Abdul al-Mas'udi, he writes that it was before the Great Flood. Mankind was primitive. They were drinking with the animals at the same place, at the same river. Then the heavens opened, the skies opened, and heavenly barks descended to earth. Then the teachers from heaven descended. So first they installed school on the land of Nile, and then they forced the primitive humans to go into these schools. And then they said, one of these human beings was very intelligent. He was different to all the other. His name was Saurit. That's an Egyptian tradition. And the guardians of the sky, these helpers from the sky, they told Saurit that the terrible flood would destroy the earth. So Saurit replayed, well, in that case, it was all for nothing, what we have been learning, because the flood, the water, will sweep all away, and the following generations after the flood, they have to start all again. So he asked for permission to make a gigantic construction which would survive the flood. And in this construction, he would put all the writings which mankind had learned before the great flood. So the guardians of the sky gave him the permission. So Saurit and his people constructed the pyramid according to this, not extraterrestrials, but the extraterrestrials warned him before the flood. So Saurit, according to this Arabian tradition, made the Great Pyramid with all little chambers inside. And in these chambers he put all the writings which humanity...
All the knowledge.
Which humanity learned before the Great Flood. One thing to this, just let me to add. Saurit, which is the Egyptian historian, he says that... says that Saurit is the same figure which the Hebrew people call Enoch. Now Enoch is a patriarch before the great flood, and according to the Bible, the Old Testament, Enoch is the first human being who leaves our planet in a fiery chariot. It's very funny.
Yes, it is. It certainly is. Well, eu conversei aqui com o escritor Erich von Däniken. Erich, thank you very much for being in the show with us.
Thank you for giving me the chance to be here.
Ok, thank you. E daqui a pouco a gente volta.